Here we've just got a simple H stack with two text elements inside of it. And say we wanted to stretch each of these text elements so that each text element took up 50% of the screen's width. How would we do that? Well, you might think, well, let's just use a geometry reader. Geometry in. And just move the H stack within the geometry reader. Like that. And then for each of these, we can just set a frame. The width will be geometry size dot width divided by 2. So right away you can see the issue in the preview here. So the issue is the geometry reader actually stretches the view to use all of the available space, so it alters the layout. Most of the time when you're using geometry reader, you just want to get the size of the parent view and size your view based off of that. You don't want to alter the layout. And so introduced in iOS 17 was a new modifier, so I can get rid of the geometry reader. I'll just remove that. And the new modifier is this container relative frame, and the axis will be horizontal. The count will be 2. The spacing will be 0. And we can just apply this modifier to both. So this divides the horizontal dimension into 2 equal parts with no spacing. So basically what this is doing, the container relative frame modifier starts from the view it's applied to. So it starts from the text view and then searches up through the view hierarchy for the nearest container that fits within a predefined list of containers. And containers are things like, say, a navigation stack, a scroll view, a list, things like that. You can option click and actually see a list of the containers here. This can be applied to both axes. So for example, we take out one of the text elements, delete the H stack, paste it down here. So then it will stretch to fit the width of the screen. And then we can change that to vertical and it will stretch to fit the height of the screen. One thing that you've got to look out for when you're using this modifier is, like I was saying before, it searches up the view hierarchy for the nearest container. So it doesn't necessarily fit the entire width or height of the screen, because that might not necessarily be the nearest container. And so this is a bit of a contrived example. But for example, say we've got a scroll view here, and we move this text inside of it. So now the nearest container will be this scroll view, so it will size based off of that. So if we set, like, say, an explicit frame with an explicit height of, say, 200, then that'll limit the height of this text to 200. This of course means that if you were using some reusable components that use this modifier, you may get some unexpected layout results depending how the component's used.